Bro, people gonna be going home talking about so, oh, I saw this girl filming in IKEA. That's me, yo, that's me, really taking risk. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Charlize Ajel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I love you. Mwah. Before we get into the contents of this video, I just want to apologize really quick for not uploading last week. I am trying my best to stay as consistent as possible, but you know, life really be throwing some lemons at my face. I'm not gonna lie. So for today's video, we are going to be answering some of you guys' questions. Okay, so the first question that we got is, what keeps you motivated? All right, a couple people asked this question, so if you did ask that question, I'm not gonna, you know, restate the same question over and over again. Just know that this answer applies to all of those questions. So one thing that really keeps me motivated would be just the goals that I have for myself in the future, and I guess the fear of failure. I don't want to be nothing in life. I want to fully live out my purpose and say that I really did something for myself. I just love creating things. So the more I create, the more I feel motivated to do more. I just want to do more and more and more and more and help people, pretty much. The next question that we have is, what do you plan on doing career-wise in the future? All right, so I love this question because I love talking about my plans for the future. So the plans that I have for my life, right? I plan to open up a dance studio catered to children of minorities, Black girls, boys, Hispanic Black boys. Wait, what? So I plan to open up a dance studio. I'm not gonna say where or when, but I plan to open up a dance studio catered to children of minorities, teenagers, grown people. Everybody can join, right? I'm still deciding whether I want it to be a non-profit or a for-profit organization. But yes, it's going to be catered to people of minorities, where I would be teaching them about more than just dance. Dance is obviously going to be like the center of everything that they're going to be learning, but I want them to develop a lot of, like, you know, real world skills, things that they should actually be teaching us in school, but for some reason they're just not. So I'm just gonna take on that responsibility. All right, next question is, what's your favorite hobby? Okay, my favorite hobby, dancing, of course, but there are some other stuff that I do. I don't do them as much as I used to, but I still, like, you know how to do them. I used to, like, you know, frequently paint, knitting, sewing. Bro, during quarantine, y'all should have hit me up. I was making face masks with all these different patterns and stuff. Like, y'all should have really, you know, put some money in my pocket. Anyway, so the next question that we have is, what are your favorite memories with your cousins? I'm not really close with family, so I don't have, like, many memories. And if I ever did anything with you guys, I don't really remember, unfortunately, because I don't hang around with my family. It's kind of sad. Next question is, what is one thing you do that isn't Bible study that brings you closer to God? I feel like a way that I try to draw myself closer to God is just by talking to him regularly. Like, even when I'm outside and I'm thinking, I'm just, like, you know, observing my surroundings, just thinking about life or whatever, right? I would try to include God in, like, my thoughts as much as possible. I would say I'm a very self-aware person, so anything that I see that I'm doing that isn't, like, you know, what God would want me to do, I do try to correct myself, because I mean, it makes me feel it makes me feel a bit guilty continuously doing something that I know he would not favor. So just keeping him in my thoughts and having, like, constant conversation with him is how I draw myself closer. Somebody asked me, why do I believe in God? Okay, so that's a very good question, and I don't feel like I have a good enough answer for that. I just feel like I grew up with God. Like, I grew up Catholic, so I already knew about him, or, like, knew who he was in a sense, but obviously not fully. because there's always more that you can learn about him. But it wasn't until like my freshman year of college when I really decided to like, you know, start taking him seriously and, you know, really going down that journey to discover who he is and to discover who I am within him. So I feel like that's the best way I could explain it. But yeah. All right, so the next question that we have is, what is my type? My type is anybody that God supplies me with, because at this point I'm sick and tired of trying to write my own love life when that's just not how it's supposed to be. Like, clearly that's not how it's supposed to be. I'm gonna wait for God to adorn any relationship that I step into. Friendship, courtship, all of that. But if you want to get technical and ask me, like, you know, what my preference is, what I would prefer is, you know, tall, brown skin, light skin. Either somebody with like long curly hair, short curly hair, or waves. I love waves. I do love waves. But I prefer somebody with longer hair so that I could, you know, I could be your personal stylist. I know how to do hair. But anyway, I don't care for dreadheads. I never really cared for dreadheads. So somebody asked me, what kind of superpower would I like to have? Me personally, I would like the manipulation of time. I feel like time manipulation it's like a 2-in-1 deal. If I could pause time and I could go wherever I want while the time is paused, and then, you know, resume the time once I get to that place, that's basically teleportation. If you really think about it, that's basically teleportation. So manipulation of time, being able to pause it, play it, rewind, fast forward, see into the future, see the past, and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's the superpower I would choose. And here's the last question of this video: what inspires you to dance? Okay, so growing up, right, my mom did put me into dance classes and dance lessons and all that good stuff. So I was competing and traveling and all that stuff for dance, and I loved it, right? All the way up until like my freshman year of high school, I was still competing. But once I did get into high school, I had to like stop because the schedule was conflicting with school and then having to go to practice afterwards. It wasn't, something had to give, right? But then I started dancing in high school, and that's when I was introduced to modern and to African dance. Two very great dance forms, I must say. After my first 2 years of college, that's when I really started taking it seriously. I felt like my whole life I had been acting on what other people might want to see from me and not really living for myself. And I feel like a great way to actually live for myself and to actually learn more about who I am is by getting deeper into something that I loved and I still do love, like, very, very, very much, right? And honestly, I feel like dancing as a whole is just very, very underrated, which really ties into my goals of like opening up that dance studio. I feel like this art form should be shared, and if everybody would just dance, the whole world would be healed. Like Trump, Biden, Obama, whole government, they just need to dance. Like oh my gosh, they got so much pent up energy, so much ego, so much pride, so much nonsense in them. And if they really, you know, just let loose, the world would be at peace. Okay, if you reached the end of this video, please comment down below the answers to your questions. The questions that you guys asked me, I want to see you guys' answers, right? But if you feel like answering somebody else's question, then you could do that too. But that is it for today's video, guys. I'm so happy that you made it to the end. I love you. Mwah. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.